So obviously you're returning now, 18 months away from competition. It's been a journey for you. How does it feel to kind of get back in the swing of things, get back into fight week?
I feel blessed, man. It's been such a long time off, 18 months, like you said. ACL injury, my first injury of my career ever. So it's been different to sit back and, not doing the stuff that I'm usually used to doing, moving around and training, getting better daily. So yeah, I took the time off to really heal my body, not only just my knee, my body was actually banged up a bit from 12 years in the sport. So I feel refreshed, man. I rejuvenated. I feel like the universe taught me a valuable lesson last year. Um, I was gonna be in $1 million Grand Prix tournament, and all the money and all that stuff. I had to not think about that anymore and just think about what I'm trying to create for myself, which is legacy. And this fight coming back, legacy fight written all over it.
Which knee was the torn ACL in?
I can't tell you that. No,
Okay.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing. No, it's my right knee. It's my right knee. They all know.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
they
was
all
gonna
know.
say, I mean, at some point we probably figured out when you see the scar.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it's my right knee.
Sure, sure. So how did this happen exactly? Like how did the injury occur?
It was crazy. So I was about 3.5 weeks out from the beginning of the Grand Prix. I was going to fight my teammate Rafi on Stotts, and was at a practice, wrestling practice. I went for a wizard kick, which is a wrestling move, and my teammate made a like just a weird motion, and we kind of both kind of got caught in it and completely tore my ACL, completely torn it.
My goodness. And what did it feel
Yeah.
like? Did you hear the pop? Did you know like something
Oh
happened
yeah.
or
So I tore my LCO back when I was like 23 years old, and so I know that noise never is a good sound, but this one was different. I tore it and I couldn't really walk on it right away, and I was like, damn, like I know something's up, and I honestly didn't even want to go to the hospital because I already knew like, oh man, this part isn't a good thing. I get an MRI looked at, and yep, completely torn my ACL, man.
so
Crazy.
what was the timeline of your kind of your recovery here? Because obviously you weren't rehabbing for 18 months. It's just the way it worked out.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just rehabbing for about like 3 to 4 months, 3 to 6 months, I would say. I took a little breather in between. I went to Indonesia, I went to Bali, so I got to go explore some places as well. But yeah, so about 5 to 6 months of real rehab, and I got to get back to my sport. Around like November, December, I jumped back in the gym, started hitting pads, started being able to run again. A lot of swimming. I did a lot of swimming last year, and I usually hate swimming. I enjoy it. So yeah, just just the stuff that I could do, I was doing. I'm such a mover that when I don't move, I get anxious. I get a little depressed as well. So had to deal with all those emotions for the first 2 to 3 months. Just learning new sides about myself that I didn't even know were there. And yeah, man, it was a spiritual journey to get back.
With a lot of the extra swimming, did you notice maybe any like changes to your form, your musculature or anything like that? Because swimming it's a very different workout.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was lifting a lot of weight, so I was really bulky. I was eating a lot of food too, so yeah, I was depressed eating. So depression eating on top of bench pressing and bicep curls and all this extra stuff I'm doing. I put on a lot of weight and a lot of size. And I started swimming just because I'm like, yo, I need to do some form of cardio. I really couldn't bike, I couldn't run, I couldn't walk. So swimming was like the most just safest on my body. And I felt the best. I don't think my body changed too much. I did, like I said, I gained a lot of weight. So I was up to like I think like 183 for a moment.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I was pretty heavy. I'm from Wisconsin, so we got beer and cheese and all that. So yeah, I was doing a lot of that.
What is the by the way, what is the best cheese in your opinion that you can get in Wisconsin?
Man, honestly, I'm not like a true cheesehead, from
Okay.
like how these Wisconsinites are. I mean, I enjoy all cheese, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I mean, I don't have like a favorite.
Getting back to you and obviously your return here, what did you miss most kind of during that time you were away? Because obviously you couldn't compete. Did you watch the tournament? Did you watch the Grand Prix, or did you kind of have too much FOMO to watch?
No, I watched it. I felt like last year really taught me how to be happy for other athletes too, even for other people in my division. Um, I sat back, I watched because I know eventually I'm going to compete against these guys as well. And I keep around the sport. I didn't want to get taken away from the sport. I watched fights all the time. I was still at the gym even when I wasn't training. I was there helping my teammates with little details, coaching, trying to find my fit. I was trying to find where I could fit in with all this injury. But yeah, I mean, I watched it, and yeah, I just got more motivated, man. A lot of these guys were like, "Yo, I got the belt. I'm the real champ now." And as the interim champ, I was like, I got to go back and settle this. So now that I'm back and healthy, yeah, I could finally show what I've learned.
And you were, of course, going to, like you said, fight Raufeon Stots, your buddy, your teammate. You
Yeah.
avoided that, through an unfortunate scenario. But,
Yeah.
do you kind of feel like, hey, at least we didn't have to go through that. We can kick that can down the road and maybe we'll do that another day. Like, is it nice that you don't have to worry about that yet?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like the universe showed both of us like that, we weren't meant to fight each other. Yeah, I got a torn ACL. He lost his last fight against Patchy Mix, and it just wasn't meant for us to fight each other at the end of the day. So, yeah, I mean, I think I'm done with that whole idea of fighting Rafian Stas just because he's my boy, man. Honestly, it would be really hard to go out there and compete against him. We were both at a different time in our lives last year where we were both hungry and, we both want to show who the best in the world was. But now that everything played out the way it played out, I just feel, we're better off being friends.
Sure, sure. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, he's your buddy. I understand it didn't go his way in that last fight, but what did you think of Patchy Mix in his victory in the final? What did you think of his performance?
I mean, Patsy makes all of last year impressed me. He went out there and he put Horiguchi on the mat, and Horiguchi couldn't do nothing for 5 rounds. Went out there and submitted Magomedov, and then he put the cherry on top by landing a devastating knee against Rafian Stotts. He showed that this man is hungry. I think we're like 2 days apart in age. Like he's like his birthday's I think like 16th of August, mine's the 18th. So I know where his head's at. I know the hunger that he wants and the goals he has set for himself. So I'm impressed with him. Very impressed.
Everybody was expecting that your return would coincide with, unifying that title with inevitably ended up being Patchy. But here we are, you're preparing for a title defense against, the great featherweight champion, Patricio Pitbull here. When did this fight get on your radar?
So we were talking about the fight. Actually, me and my coach were. He's like, I hear Patricio is trying to drop down to 135 and fight for the belt to become the first three-time champ. And it was around January. My coach actually made like a little Instagram post, like question mark Patricio, kind of tagged his coaches in there. And I think Bellator saw that and jumped on board, man. They were like, that's the fight to make. Definitely a legendary fight. I come back from 18 months, get thrown into the deep waters against the GOAT over that Bellator. And also him to become a three-time champion. He'll be the first three-time champion in all of MMA. So I think the fight just made the most sense.
Now, obviously, when this fight was announced, again, it wasn't really quite expected, but I think a lot of people were very excited about it. But what it also did is it kind of almost made this unofficial four-man tournament between, you two, Patchy and Ralphion. And now this is almost like a semifinal bracket leading up to that inevitable title unification. What will it mean for whoever comes out of this four-man group here? What will it mean for them and their legacy?
It means a lot, man. In general, my legacy, I'd be a three-time Bellator champion coming back from an 18-month layoff to fight the GOAT. It's like if I am successful with this fight, like it definitely shoots my resume up there for sure. But yeah, the winner of that in general, it shows the top tier guys at Bellator, man, at these weight classes. Me, Patchy Mix, Patricio. I think it's all interesting fights. We all have different styles and we all bring different things to the table, which I believe will be entertaining for everybody to see. Make more eyes come over to Bellator.
Now, Pitbull is, I think it's probably goes without saying that he is the most accomplished fighter in Bellator history. He's done so much, and whether he gets this done or not, he still kind of has that title. But what are your thoughts in general about what he's done in the sport?
He's done amazing things in the sport, man. I've been watching Patricio since I was like 16 or 17 years old, fighting for Bellator. Actually, was prepping one of our teammates to fight him. Not even a teammate, just like a buddy of ours. And Patricio went out there and finished the man. So, but yeah, so I've been knowing about Patricio for a while, man, and just what he's done. It's awesome. Him and his brother. It's cool to see brothers successful in the sport together. And same with like me and Anthony, we've put in so much time together. We've gone through so much ups and downs in our lives and our careers. And to be able to put a stamp on this sport as siblings is beautiful.
Now, again, he's looking for that third division title. He already won at 55 as well, and 45. He just gave up the 55-pound title, so no one even beat him for that one. How do you feel about playing the role of basically the obstacle in his way? I mean, this is you're the spoiler here potentially. How does that role feel for you? Do you like it?
Spoiler starts with SP, right? And that's my nickname, man. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to come out here and spoil this guy's plans. But not only that, I'm not really thinking about that, honestly. I'm thinking more about my legacy. What can it do for my legacy to beat Patricio Pitbull? And I believe it does a lot. Puts me in a new conversation, puts me in a new ranking, and puts me up there with the pound for pound over here at Bellator.
Now you're not going to give away any trade secrets. I get that, but how do you stop him from taking what's yours?
I got to go out there and put everything together and believe in myself. I've always been a person that lacked that. I really didn't believe in my skill set, didn't believe in myself. Not only as a athlete, but even growing up. I was very timid kid, very shy, and now that I'm older, man, I just feel things are clicking. I'm starting to understand who I am as a person, as a man. 29 years old now, so I'm a whole different athlete from when I started this sport to who I am now. And if I go out there, go have some fun, believe in my skill set, believe in my team, and man, I believe it will be my night.
Inevitably, someone like you comes into the sport. You're following your brother who becomes the UFC champion and everything like that. You can't help but at least start in his shadow, right? You're
Oh,
Anthony's little brother for a little while. When do you feel, because it sounds like you've kind of gotten out of that phase, and even personally for yourself, when did you kind of get to that point where you're like, I know people know I'm not Anthony's brother, I'm Sergio?
what's crazy? I think the narrative got put in my head just from interviews, from like coming up to the sport, like, oh, you're in the shadow and whatnot. So for a bit, I was kind of feeling like I was in the shadow. And regardless, man, I will be Anthony's little brother for the rest of my life. I'm gonna be his little brother because I am his little brother. I'm 6 years, 6.5 years younger than him, 7 years younger than him, and everybody's got different routes and different ways of getting to their success. His happened a lot sooner, and I feel mine happened later on in my life. I'm a late bloomer, and I still feel like I haven't bloomed completely to my full capabilities yet.
Which is wild because you've been in the sport now, what, 12 years, I believe, since you turned
Yes,
pro. And
sir.
even,
Yes,
like you
sir.
said, you're not even 30 yet. So you've got a lot of time ahead of you.
For sure. I plan on being in the sport for the long haul. I still have a lot of goals, and obviously not looking past Pitbull, but I have a lot of goals set for later on in my life as well. So I believe I got another 8 to 10 years left in the sport to really put my stamp on where I want to be. And with my work ethic and with the correct people around me, which I have nowadays, it's gonna go planned, I believe.
Now, I think a lot of people were surprised, and I'll say myself included, that this was not the main event, given all the history on the line and everything like that. Do you have any thoughts on the placement of the card as the co-main event instead of the headliner?
Nah, I really don't pay attention to all that. All I think about now is I don't got to be the last one to end the card, and I could go and get some food after and actually enjoy maybe the last fight. So yeah, I don't really care about any of that stuff. If they don't want us to be the main event, so be it. I mean, that's a good fight in general, Yoel Romero versus Nemkov. So I think it's just going to be an entertaining card overall.
And then the last question I have for you is, assuming everything goes your way this weekend, you come out relatively healthy. When you want to come back and have that unification bout?
I'd like to have the belt unification belt fight before the year's over. I've had a long time off, and next year I plan on getting married early February. So I'd like
Congratulations.
to thank you. So I'd like to possibly fight, November, December if all goes well and I'm not hurt or if I don't lose the fight. But yeah, so we still got to wait for all that to play out. I'm not much of a guy to think too far ahead. I've been living day by day. Last year taught me that really to enjoy day by day and not get so anxious thinking about the future. So yeah, I'm just worried about Pitbull.